Hello and welcome back to Crypto Saving Experts, where we talk about the latest cryptocurrency news and take a look at the markets so that we all know exactly what is happening. My name is Jess and we do these videos every single weekday. So if you do enjoy these videos, please make sure to like and subscribe and press the bell notification button so you don't miss the latest cryptocurrency news. Right now, the price of Bitcoin is plummeting, so I'm hoping with the help of this live stream we can stop that and we can get some levels of support in place. Let's take a look at the price of Bitcoin really quickly. We currently have Bitcoin sat at $29,170 with Ethereum sat at $1,976. Both haven't had a great 24 hours. Bitcoin's holding up a little bit more than Ethereum, but Ethereum has been outperforming Bitcoin in the last couple of days. So let's take a look at the 7-week chart to see what this looks like here. We have on the 7-week change, we have a Bitcoin down 2.82% and Ethereum up 5.6%. So Ethereum is still in a nice rise. Let's zoom back in again so we can all read what's going on in the latest cryptocurrency news. We have a lot going on today. We're going to talk about Gary Gensler and the SEC. We're going to talk about Coinbase and we're going to talk about regulation in the UK. We'll also take a look at the Gala AIRDROP and we'll take a look at the Bitcoin price as always. Do a little bit of Bitcoin analysis to finish off today's stream. So if you do want to stay tuned for that, make sure to like and subscribe and press the bell notification button so you don't miss the latest cryptocurrency news. Let's get on to the SEC and Gary Gensler to see what's happening in the markets. First of all, let's check in with the chat. Lots of people in the chat today. Thank you very much for tuning in. We have the SEC chair grilled for House Financial Services chairman on whether Ethereum is a security. So the SEC chair Gary Gensler was grilled on whether Ethereum is a security or not, and he really struggled to answer this. I'm not sure how many of you have seen the video of this. It's been circulating on crypto Twitter over the last couple of hours, and we can see here he was hosted at the House Financial Services Committee hearing on Tuesday. Before his testimony, Gensler was quizzed by the House Republicans on the agency's approach to crypto regulations. The highlight was a question about the status of Ether by the committee's chairman, Patrick McHenry, and he just really struggled to answer. So we can see here he responded, "I think that the clarity is there. The law is clear." But we just didn't get an answer from him. Now, what we're seeing here is there's a new bill that's been introduced that's trying to get the chairman removed from the SEC. And if we remove the chairman from the SEC, he's not looking to get replaced by another one. Instead, we're going to have a board at the top that can make these decisions to help regulate the cryptocurrency industry correctly. Now, I think this would be a massive step forward for the cryptocurrency industry. Right now, we have Gary Gensler as the chairman of the SEC, and the SEC are just targeting cryptocurrency companies like all over the place. There's no real structure to this. There's no real clarity to this. And it's causing all sorts of problems for the cryptocurrency community. And companies like Coinbase, who are a huge established company, are looking to even move out of the US if this clarity doesn't develop within the US in the next couple of years. We will get onto that later in today's stream. So let's move on to the next article we have here. We have, after the SEC labels Algo as security, an old video questions Gensler's integrity. So an old video of Gary Gensler, the chairman of the SEC, has made its way through crypto Twitter following the SEC's statement on further tokens it deems are securities. So, just a couple of weeks ago, the SEC said, the chairman Gary Gensler said that every token that isn't Bitcoin is a security and therefore needs to be regulated by the SEC. But we can see here that they included the finding that several cryptocurrencies traded on the exchange were securities, including Algo, the native token of Algorand. The filing also labeled Dash, OMG, TKN, NGC, and IHT as securities traded on the Bittrex exchange by US customers. So the SEC have, in their latest reasoning, started to target Bittrex, saying that they are offering unregistered securities and they shouldn't be offering these. But we can see a new filing by the SEC is no surprise given the ramp up in enforcement over the past month. However, in all of this, two old videos have emerged on Twitter that question the Gary Gensler's integrity and intent in this latest enforcement action, particularly surrounding the Algo token. So if we take a look at this, we can see that he has tweeted, he appears to be making a much more formal speech whilst wearing a suit and discussing creating Uber, the popular taxi service, on top of a blockchain. Whilst talking about the ability to scale something such as Uber on the blockchain, Gensler mentions Algorand and calls it a great technology. And we can see here, you could create Uber on top of it. So he has been pro-Bitcoin and pro-blockchain in the past. He has recently mentioned that he has never ever invested in into cryptocurrencies. He does not own any cryptocurrencies, but he has discussed the blockchain technology as being very useful in the history. And now he is seeming to be shutting down any hopes of the US supporting cryptocurrency companies and allowing them to grow. So moving on nicely from this, we have had Coinbase's CEO Brian Armstrong in the UK in the last couple of days discussing regulations in the UK and the problems that still lie in the US. So let's take a look at this now and see what's been going on here. So we have Coinbase CEO meets the UK Economic Secretary. So Brian Armstrong was in the UK to meet with them and hinting at the potential for the UK towards becoming a cryptocurrency hotspot. So currently Coinbase is based in the US. Its HQ is in the US, and the US is its biggest revenue generator. Now, the UK is Coinbase's second biggest revenue generator. And Coinbase's CEO, Brian Armstrong, has been saying that cryptocurrency companies are going to move out of the US unless there's clarity on the regulations. And he's also been saying that Coinbase will have to take the same measures if we don't see any changes within the next 3 years. So Coinbase was recently listed on the public stock exchange, and to do so, they needed to be audited pretty heavily by the SEC. That was only around a year and a half ago, and now it's all changed, and the SEC are currently going after them. So the time scale from being fully audited and being ready to become a public company to now what's happening now, where they're issuing Wells notices to the SEC from the SEC, doesn't really make sense. They were audited only a year ago. Coinbase have constantly tried to follow the rules in the US, but the SEC are still choosing to go after them and say that they are doing things incorrectly. So we can see here now that Brian Armstrong has said that the UK, he's had a great meeting with the UK. And the UK is moving fast on sensible regulation to both drive economic growth and consumer protection, and he's excited to keep investing in the US. So the tweet hinted at the progress the UK is making with its ambition to becoming a cryptocurrency hub. So the UK wanted to become a cryptocurrency hotspot. Unfortunately, we didn't see too much drive towards this. We didn't see many steps taken towards this. However, they are starting to now make progress. So in April 22, the HM Treasury revealed an article on the government.uk website outlining plans for a global cryptocurrency technology hub. However, there has been minimal visible development in the time since the article. And we can see here a photo of the chairman of the CEO of Coinbase with the economic secretary. And we can see here Armstrong also added that the two individuals shared thoughts and feelings on the recent crypto blocks put on some UK bank accounts, which will undoubtedly hinder cryptocurrency adoption in the UK in the long term. So the UK I'm speaking so quickly, sorry, I will slow down now. The UK wanted to become a cryptocurrency hotspot, and let me just check that everything is still running smoothly. The UK wanted to become a cryptocurrency hotspot, and a lot of banks in the UK decided they no longer wanted to work with individuals trying to invest into cryptocurrency. So moving money from your bank accounts into cryptocurrency centralized exchanges has become a little bit more difficult. There's more restrictions on that. You can only transfer certain amounts. There's limitations on the value of those, and over not just days but over months as well. And that has happened pretty nationwide with many of the major banks within the UK, making it difficult now for cryptocurrency to become a cryptocurrency hotspot. This is the opposite to what we're seeing in Hong Kong. Hong Kong wants to become a cryptocurrency hotspot. The regulations make it really easy for cryptocurrency companies to evolve in Hong Kong, and their banks are very pro working with cryptocurrency companies and individuals as well. So that is what we're hoping to see in the UK, but that is not what we're seeing right now. However, Brian Armstrong is still saying that the UK is a pretty good spot for cryptocurrencies. So we can see here that the blog stated, "Never doubt the importance of the UK and Europe to Coinbase. We may be a US listed company, but we know that to succeed in our mission of increased economic freedom, we have to be active globally." The blog also stated that Armstrong would be a headliner at UK FinTech Week on Tuesday. So is the US's loss the UK's gain? Brian Armstrong has stated, as I just mentioned, if the US do not provide clarity on their regulations within the next couple of years, maybe they'll have to take the same approach that many other cryptocurrency companies are taking, and looking for other jurisdictions that can regulate them in a clear manner that doesn't have all this complexity. We are seeing he's praised how the UK has the FCA that manages regulating cryptocurrencies, whereas in the US it's much more complex. So he has praised the UK's regulations thus far. So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. We also have This article here, which we discussed, crypto firms to develop in offshore havens without clear regulations. So this is what I've just discussed about the US not having clarity on their regulation, pushing companies out of the US. And that is what is unfortunately happening here. And it just goes to show that companies like Binance, like Coinbase, that have majorly shown they are trying to follow the rules for years and years and years, are still getting targeted. Smaller companies are just looking at this and saying, we have no legs to stand on, this is never going to work. So they're looking at other jurisdictions and offshore havens where they can build a company and grow in a sustainable way without the SEC going after them. So let's take a look now at the next article we have here. We are still talking about the SEC, but we are talking about the way they have gained access to documents regarding Terraform Labs. So let's take a look at this. This should be pretty interesting. Let's see what's in today's news. Please don't forget, if you haven't already, to like and subscribe and press the bell notification button so you don't miss the latest cryptocurrency news. We are currently on, let's get this, 16 likes for today's stream. Let's try and get to 25. We've done it before and I think we can do it again. Please make sure to like if you haven't already on today's stream. So we have here the SEC granted access to documents regarding Terraform Labs. So the US SEC has been granted records relating to Terraform Labs and its founder Do Kwon. So Terraform Labs is the creators of the Terra ecosystem that fell very, very quickly back in May 2022 when UST depegged from the dollar and Luno crashed with it. So we can see here on Friday, Do Kwon was denied a motion to halt the SEC's probe into the records held by the SMA. So this is all to do with the crash back in May 2022, as I just said. The report comes after Do Kwon was arrested in Montenegro in March, nearly a year after UST's collapse. After Kwon's arrest, criminal charges were brought against the founder as New York prosecutors slammed 8 counts of fraud against them. So what's next for Do Kwon? We've all wanted to see some repercussions be pushed on to Do Kwon for over a year now, and we are, well, now almost a year, April, May, 11 months it's been since UST depegged. It's gone so quickly. And the attitude towards cryptocurrency has changed massively since then. The sentiment in cryptocurrency, everyone was like down only, but now it seems to have changed and everyone's feeling a little bit more positive about the situation. Even though Bitcoin is stumping right now, let's see where Bitcoin is right now. Taking a look at this, we are currently set at $29,150 for Bitcoin. Could be better, we've seen better in the last week, but we're creating more supports and that's a really important thing. Anyway, back to this piece of news about Do Kwon. So what's next for Do Kwon? Alongside the 8 counts of fraud brought against Kwon by New York prosecutors, the SEC had previously charged the founder with securities fraud. And the news surrounding Do Kwon has been an ever-present post-UST collapse, with rumours constantly circulating throughout the second half of 2022 concerning the individual's whereabouts and potential criminal charges. Let's say it like this. Jason Smith has said Do Kwon, another bad actor, still waiting for the axe to fall. And we are still waiting to see what repercussions come for Do Kwon. We can see here several countries may want to charge Kwon and convict the founder on the allegations, and South Korean prosecutors asked Binance to block a reported $69 million in Bitcoin linked to Do Kwon in April. So it is also important to state, like all criminal charges, until proven and convicted in a court of law, Do Kwon is alleged to have facilitated fraud and criminality, but as for what's next, it is not unreasonable to assume a long legal process. And that is definitely something that I am expecting. This won't be an easy ride. We see these things lasting years and years and years. I mean, it's already been a year before he's even been arrested, so we can't expect some quick action on this, but we will keep you updated here on the channel. As I said, we do these live streams every single weekday, so make sure if you are new here to like and subscribe and press the bell notification button so you don't miss the latest cryptocurrency news. I'm working on speaking slower. We've zoomed through a lot today. I hope you are all enjoying today's stream. Let's check out the next article we have here, which is the US crypto exchange Kraken secures license in Ireland where laws make sense. So US cryptocurrency exchange Kraken have acquired a crypto license in Ireland in pursuit of clear and effective regulation. Now this comes after Kraken have been in the spotlight from the SEC over their EARN protocol. We can see here that they announced on Tuesday that they have decided to get a license in Ireland as well, and they are praising Ireland's regulatory structure. So we can see here, Kraken pushes beyond US borders. The development also marks the exchange's push beyond the American jurisdiction, where crypto companies are battling unclear regulations. So they've said, clear and effective regulation is essential for the mainstream adoption of cryptocurrencies. We're committed to continuing to work with European regulators to operate compliantly under sensible, forward-looking crypto asset regulation. So this is really important. We're seeing this over and over again from many different cryptocurrency companies. We can't stress this enough, and we just need to see some change. So I'm really happy to see this new bill introduced that could create a board of directors for the SEC rather than just having Chairman Gary Gensler, who seems to hate cryptocurrencies. We can continue with this article though. We can see Kraken considers the regulatory approach in Ireland and the European region more friendly than in the US, following the long string of crackdowns on crypto offerings by the SEC amidst unclear regulations. So earlier this month, Kraken was caught in the web of SEC's enforcement actions over its staking services. That is what I mentioned at the start of today's stream. So in addition to closing the service, Kraken forfeited $30 million in settlement in the SEC's charges. So we are seeing problems there with Kraken in the SEC. We've discussed that on previous live streams during the crackdown of the SEC, but they're looking at Ireland as saying this is a brilliant jurisdiction that we can grow in, because the regulation is clear. So they've said, Ireland and the Irish regulatory authorities understand crypto, and they are proactive in implementing laws that make sense and have sufficient clarity. So we can see here, it's also worth noting that Kraken has had some of its non-US subsidiaries closed, but for reasons outside the regulations. Due to market conditions, the Japanese branch of the exchange was shut down last month, but more recently, Kraken shut its Abu Dhabi office despite owning a license. So we're seeing Kraken move around in different ways and trying to find a place where it can best grow. It is a major cryptocurrency exchange, and it just needs to work around these problems and follow regulations closely so it can continue to grow. And let's move on to the next article now. Let's take a look at the chat. Class B says, I love the accent. Thank you very much. Some people do, some people hate it. Let's take a look at this. Let's take a look at this next article here. We have DCG's crypto exchange Luno announces plan to pull out from Singapore. Now this follows actually after Binance was headquarters in Singapore for a long period of time, and they announced yesterday that they were moving to Dubai. And we're seeing the same with DCG's crypto exchange Luno. So let's take a look at this. Luno, owned by Digital Currency Group, is closing down operations in Singapore, and they made this known in a recent blog post stating all accounts belonging to customers in Singapore will automatically be closed and inaccessible from the 20th of June. So let's take a look at this. So the decision was made part of a regular evaluation of its global strategy and presence. Based on this, the exchange has also informed the country's financial regulator to scrap its application for a license to operate crypto services in the country entirely. So Singapore is one of Luno's key markets. Between March 21 and Feb 22, the customer base of the exchange in the country reportedly increased by over 40%, after which it obtained in principle approval from MAS to offer crypto services to investors in Singapore. So the company said, our operations in other regions are not impacted by this decision. So Singapore is concerned about retail exposure to crypto. So Luno vouched for Singapore for having the potential to lead the way in using crypto to build a fair and robust financial system. The authorities recently took steps to limit crypto trading by retail users. And this is probably something that's causing these moves to the outside, to other jurisdictions. And we can see here that the MAS has planned to require investors to take tests before trading cryptocurrencies, fearing that many retail users do not have sufficient knowledge of the risks of trading tokens, which could lead them to take on higher risks than they would otherwise have been willing or able to bear. So that is what we are seeing there. Let's move on to the comment section. Jason Smith says there seems to be a wave of crypto companies pulling out of Singapore. Wonder what the main driver is for it. So yeah, this is the second one in the last 2 days. We did see Bybit move out of Singapore yesterday as well, moving to Dubai. It's something to do with these regulations and making it more difficult for retail investors to get involved. Not necessarily making it more difficult by creating a test for retail investors to get involved in the cryptocurrency space. It's definitely something that I could see other regulators adopting as well. But right now, Dubai is obviously very, very cryptocurrency friendly, and with different regulations all around the world changing constantly, these companies need to navigate where they can best grow. So let's move on to the next article here. We have Gala announcing an airdrop. Now, I imagine a lot of our viewers do invest in Gala. It was a major token back in 2021. So the Gala token Ethereum contract will pass through several improvements in the V2 update, including improved burn mechanisms, security upgrades, and the possibility of being upgraded. So imagine a lot of tokens here. A straight one-to-one token drop for all customers holding Gala V1 on Ethereum, enabling them to acquire the new Gala V2 instantly. So very interesting here. If you are a Gala fan and you are invested in Gala, make sure to check out this article here on Crypto Saving Experts. We do produce news every single day. We have the best news, the best guides, the best completely free cryptocurrency courses. And we have the market data there as well. So if you want to go over to cryptosavingexpert.com, press that blue button and create an account here. If you take this button as well, you get access to our newsletter, which is published every single Tuesday at 11 a.m. BST time, recapping the latest week in crypto and giving a few tips of what we think is to come in the week of crypto as well. So make sure to do that before next Tuesday. We are a day late now, so you'll have to wait another week before you get access to that, but it is very informative and very useful. Just to give you a little recap, let's move on. Next, at the next article here, we have crypto market rallied 48% to $1.2 trillion in Q1, whilst stablecoins shed $6.2 billion. Now, we did see a huge amount of volatility in the stablecoin market during Q1. We did see USDC depeg from the dollar. We saw Paxos ordered to stop minting BUSD. We saw a Wells notice be issued to another stablecoin as well. Lots of problems in the stablecoin market during Q1, and that has caused the market share of stablecoins to fall. This is something that I am all for, and I think this is a really positive move for the cryptocurrency community. But we'll see how this continues to play out and whether the stablecoins market will recover in the next couple of months. Let's move on to the next article here. We have Bitcoin to peak at $42.2 thousand in 2023 and close the year at $35.4 thousand. So this is a report by an analyst, and I want to hear your opinions on this prediction. So $42.2 thousand in 2023 and closing the year at $35.4 thousand is definitely something that I completely agree with. Now, I like to follow the trends to a T. I like to follow the trends until the trends prove me wrong. So far, we have seen these 4-year cycles over and over again. And we are currently in the year prior to the Bitcoin halving. In the 4-year cycles, we see the Bitcoin bull market top out at 1.5 years after the Bitcoin halving. Now, the Bitcoin halving is next predicted to be in April 2024, so 1 year from today, approximately. It does change quite a lot because it's every 210,000 blocks. A block is every 10 minutes, and that can fluctuate quite heavily by a couple of days or even a couple of weeks, but we're looking at April 2024. So I'm expecting the next Bitcoin bull market to top out 1.5 years later from that 2024 April point. Now, in the year prior to the Bitcoin halving, typically we do see a nice move to the upside as well. We are going to see some volatility, but as a whole in the year, in the next 12 months, I'm expecting some positive price movements. However, I'm not expecting to break the all-time high. So that kind of puts some limitations on this move. And that is what we've seen in the Bitcoin charts. If we take a look at the price of Bitcoin here, if we go to BTC USD, we can see here that I want to go onto the Bitcoin charts, see super charts here. We can see here if we go to the daily chart and we zoom right out, or even the weekly chart will probably be better for this explanation. We see Bitcoin making all-time highs over and over again. If we add an indicator here of Bitcoin halvings, we can make this even clearer. Let's see if we can make this Bitcoin halving. Maybe I need to type out Bitcoin halving events. Here we go. So we can see here that 1.5 years after every Bitcoin halving, we've had an all-time high. From here to here, it was 357 days. From here to here, it was, let's find this, 518 days. And from here to here, it was 560 days. So we're within that range of a year to a year and a half. And that is when we usually see the all-time high. So I'm not expecting to see an all-time high prior to the next Bitcoin halving because I like to follow the trends. I know sometimes the trends can break, but I don't like to trade on that basis. I like to trade on the basis that the trend is going to hold. And that is what I've found to be most profitable. Obviously, everything is based on probabilities. I find that basing things on probabilities and following the trends is my most profitable strategy. So we are expecting to see a Bitcoin halving in April 2024. Let's label this on the chart so we can get a bit of analysis in here. We can see here that in the year prior to the Bitcoin halving, it's usually pretty positive as well. We do have an anomaly here, which is the COVID-19 pandemic that pushed the price of Bitcoin down all the way down to just below the $4,000 level. I would like to say that that would be an anomaly. Overall, in the year prior to the 2020 halving, we did as well see an increase anyway. So I am expecting from now to the next Bitcoin halving in April 2024, we do see a positive 12 months. I'm not expecting us to break the all-time high though, as I've said. I'm expecting that to come after that Bitcoin halving during the end of next year. So seeing this price prediction of $42.2 thousand at the peak and $35.4 thousand as the close for the year is exactly in line with something. And it's not exactly in line with what I agree with. I've not got such specific points in my brain, but overall that is something that I could see happening. We did start the year down at around, let's get this right, if we take a look at the start of the year, $16,600. So I'm expecting us to see an increase from there, and from now we are at $29,000. If we take a look at this chart here, if we go up to $35.4 thousand, it would be in line with this. We will have seen an increase over the year. We wouldn't have made an all-time high, and we'll be looking at creating that at some point later next year, in my opinion. Obviously, nothing is financial advice. I'm not meant to give specific price predictions here on the channel, but I've got a little bit distracted there. Jason Smith says Bitcoin doesn't always repeat itself, but it does rhyme. Exactly. And I don't like to break the trend when making my trading predictions. I like to go in favor of probability, and probability has it that the history is going to rhyme in some way. But that is all we have for today's stream. Thank you so much for everybody who has liked today's stream, and there's been a lot of conversation in the chat today, which I love, so thank you very much if you have contributed to that. Please make sure to like and subscribe and press the bell notification button so you don't miss the latest cryptocurrency news and Bitcoin analysis. That is all we have for today. So thank you very much for watching.